everyone, and good evening. If I could encourage you to please find your seats at this time, we would like to begin. Again, good evening, everyone. In light of today's weather, I extend to you a very warm welcome to this evening's Georgia Southwestern State University Outstanding Alumni Awards Dinner. I am delighted to be here with you as we come together to celebrate our honored alumni. Events like this, and many of those that we took part in this week of homecoming, could not have been possible without the hard work and dedication of those who labored tirelessly to make it all a reality. I want to take a moment and acknowledge but just a few of them. First, Dr. Neal Weaver. You shared something in our last board meeting that struck a chord with me, and I wish to thank you very much for your support of and commitment to the Alumni Association and its efforts as we serve the former and current students of GSW. Second, if you're a current Alumni Association board member, please raise your hand. I wish to express to you my personal gratitude for your service and dedication as we strive each and every day to fulfill our mission. Lastly, to the Director of Alumni Affairs, Angela Smith. Without whose planning and organizational talents and enthusiasm, we would not be here tonight. Now, so as not to prolong any further the awesome occasion for which we are here, I invite Mr. Ricky Arnold, the Alumni Association immediate past president, to offer our invocation.
It's great to be on this side, having served as past president, to just to look around and see the previous alumni, those who we're honoring tonight, spouses, friends, but above all, for this great institution that we call Georgia Southwestern, now State University. It is a point of privilege to just say thank you for the past 2 years of serving as your president. It's been truly an honor to meet a lot of different people and to be able to tell the story. It's a great story with a lot of new faculty, staff, and students. So at this time, let's pray. Heavenly Father, we do come before you now thanking you for this day. Lord, we just thank you for this school. We thank you for our faculty, our staff, but above all, our students. Lord, for it is our students that help us to carry forth our message. Father, now we just ask that you would continue to be with our country, be with each of our families, be with our servicemen and women around the world. Now, Lord, we ask that you would use this food to nourish our bodies, that we would continue to serve you. For we pray in your Son's name. Amen. Neal, come forward, I believe. Are you going? I didn't kiss you now.
Yeah, that's all right. Good evening. We are welcome, and this is such a exciting night for us as an institution to be able to recognize some of the folks that have made Georgia Southwestern such an amazing place. And I want to echo some of the comments that have already been made. Angela Smith has done an incredible job running the Alumni Association in her second year of working with the alumni and providing services and support to our alumni. And Angela, we appreciate all you do to help make us a better institution. So we thank you. And the Alumni Board, this is a group of people who volunteer their time, who help us find ways to make the institution better. And today has been an incredible example of what can happen at a university. And just the opportunity today to walk out on campus and to see the people, the smiles, the friendships, the relationships that were happening all across campus in a variety of different locations. A couple years ago, when I was able to come here, homecoming was a one-day thing. It was a Saturday, and we had a group of people that got together for some tailgate, and we had a couple of basketball games. But this week we had an entire week of homecoming events and activities that kept the campus busy and excited. And today, what we saw in the Centennial Plaza was a real celebration of a university and the impact that it can make on people's lives and on a community. And so I thank the board for making that happen and for believing in the work that they do and the impact that it can make. And so we sincerely appreciate what you do for the university. Now, some of you may not be with us every day. I realize that the university is not part of your everyday life in that you aren't here with us every day. But I can tell you one thing. This university is headed in a very positive direction. And I want you to be proud of your university and the work that is happening here. We are growing the institution from an enrollment perspective. This year we were the only school south of Macon that had an increase in enrollment. And it was about 1.5%, which we were very excited about. But all the other schools that are trying very hard down here in South Georgia to grow couldn't match what's happening here at Georgia Southwestern. We are building and we are renovating the campus. If you were over by the baseball field and the softball field, you saw a new building going up. The old, for some of you, it may be the old library. For some of you, it may be the old nursing building. But we are in the middle of a $3.2 million renovation of that building. And for those of you who remember Flory Chapel, some of you may remember that as a swimming pool. Some of you may remember that as a basketball arena. But that building is about 5 or 6 months away from a $3.5 million renovation. We are very excited about the investment that we are making in this institution. We are introducing new degree programs across the institution. We have already added the long-term care management degree, which is really exploding in its enrollment. We're adding degree programs across every discipline at the institution, and we are connecting with the community. We are connecting our academic programs with the economic needs of the region that we serve, and those are the reasons why the institution is growing, because we believe and we are doing everything we can to support this region and to support this community. And the reason that we do that, and the reason that we know it's the right thing to do, is because of the people that we're honoring tonight. When we look at what you have accomplished, when we see the impact that you are making on people's lives and in our community, we know that we've played a small part in that. And we know that higher education makes a difference in people's lives. And so we come to work every day and we invest in this campus because we know that there are students here today that have the potential to do what you have done. And that makes us excited and it keeps us encouraged. Some of you may know, I'm from Oklahoma. I grew up in Oklahoma. And there's a great Oklahoman, Will Rogers, who was a relatively smart guy, and he called himself a humorist, but he said a lot of really smart things, and sometimes he said it in interesting ways. But he said one of the things that he liked to say was that people's minds weren't changed by argument. People's minds are changed by observation. And when people see what you do, and when they see that you went to Georgia Southwestern, it changes their mind about this institution. And so for us to have the opportunity to honor you, and for us to be able to somehow attach ourselves to your greatness and to the incredible things that you're doing, it lifts us up. And so we thank you for the opportunity to honor you and to be a small part of the accomplishments that you have. So we're excited to recognize you tonight. We congratulate you, and I can't wait to hear your stories and to hear your comments. So congratulations, and welcome back to campus.
Thank you, Dr. Weaver. At this time, I'd like for everybody to just start enjoying your dinner. We'll get ready for the program shortly, but just enjoy the fellowship. So nice to see everybody here. Y'all look great. Y'all really do. So enjoy yourselves, and we'll get started soon. Thanks so much.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back. I do encourage you to continue to eat, but we are going to start the program. So please continue to enjoy yourselves and maybe light conversation, but not too loud. So, thank you. Recognition, honor, those are humbling words. And deep down, we all have some trepidation when being singled out, even if it's warranted. But that is why we're here tonight, to recognize and to honor achievement. So if your name is on the program tonight, there's no need for anxiety. Our first award, the GSW Family Legacy Award, pays tribute to 4 people, 7 degrees, an estimated 500 credit hours, a countless number of A's, I'm sure. I haven't seen their records, but I know there's a lot of A's in there, okay? I know there are a lot. Maybe some B's. And an impact on the GSW campus and America's community that is immeasurable. Our first award, the GSW Family Legacy Award. Dr. Letty Watford earned a master's degree in education at GSW after earning her bachelor's degree from Tift College in Forsyth, and later earning a specialist and PhD from the University of Georgia. Her brother, Dr. John Watford, earned a Bachelor of Science in Mathematics and a master's degree in administration from GSW, later earning degrees from Columbus State and UGA. Barbara Watford earned a Bachelor of Science and a master's degree in education from Georgia Southwestern, later earning a specialist degree from Valdosta State University. John and Barbara's son, Mark, was a double major in music and mathematics. Yes, just wanted to make sure. While there are two children, Joshua and Lacey, did not earn degrees from GSW, they too took classes at Georgia Southwestern. So the connection to Georgia Southwestern is clear, but the Watford's impact and legacy only begins here. Letty spent 16 years on the education faculty at GSW. The last 7 of those, she served as dean, and when she retired, she had the status of Dean Emerita. Now she spends much of her time shaping more young minds on the campus of Lee County High School, teaching dual enrollment courses in math for Georgia Southwestern. If she's not manning the retiree baked goods table during GSW Preview Day. John has also built a legacy of leadership at South Georgia Technical College, where he has served as president since 2016, having served in progressively responsible roles since 1990. One of his goals is that every student who walks through the doors of South Georgia Technical College will improve their status in life. Using the Watford family as a barometer for success, this is certainly an attainable goal. Barbara Watford spent 30 years in the Sumter County school system as a teacher and principal. She retired as principal of Sarah Cobb Elementary School, and now in her free time, emphasis on free, she serves as a part-time instructor in the GSW College of Education, teaching classes in early childhood. Having met at Georgia Southwestern, John and Barbara later married and were able to continue the Watford legacy at GSW with their son, Mark. Mark was a mathematics instructor for Wiregrass Technical College and is now serving as a teaching assistant at Florida State University, where he's working towards a doctorate in music. And when this family comes to mind, I think of a few words: class, kindness, intelligence, and certainly think of GSW. It's an honor to have the Watford family with us tonight to receive the first ever GSW Family Legacy Award.
Thank you. We'll make these brief because there's a number of Watfords up here. Thank you so much to Georgia Southwestern for this great honor for our family. My mom, Ms. Doris Watford, seated at the far left table, is here tonight. She is the true matriarch of the Watford family. She and Dad always encouraged us to get as much education as possible. They said it's something that no one could ever take away from us. Dad would certainly have enjoyed this occasion because he, like Mom, valued and celebrated education. Just a quick personal note. My first memory of Georgia Southwestern was the graduation of my mom's youngest brother, Mr. Jack Holbrook, a first-generation college graduate. I remember attending the commencement ceremony in Flory Chapel Gym, which Dr. Weaver referred to earlier this evening, as an 11-year-old. The ceremony made a great impact on me because I can still visualize the sea of black robes with colorful hoods and tassels. I remember sitting in what I thought was about the 10th floor up in the gym. That's the perspective of an 11-year-old. It was a great occasion. In the summer of 1981, after finishing my first year of teaching mathematics at Peach County High School, and after declaring to my parents that I was finished with my education, having a degree and a job, I began taking classes at Georgia Southwestern. Encouraged by other teachers at Peach County High School, we carpooled to GSW for our first classes. Sometimes God has plans for our lives that surprise us. Dr. Clyett, Dr. Kipp, and Dr. McKinney were my math professors at GSW. They treated us from the first day very professionally. They took time to find out about our families and our schools. Dr. McKinney invited his students to dinner at his home. I remember telling Dr. McKinney that I would love to do what he does. He smiled and he said, "Go get your doctorate, and you could be a professor too." So 14 years later, I did. Dr. Bueller and Dr. Frisbee in the education department at that time were favorite professors at GSW. From the math department to the education department, I was challenged in my content and education courses and was treated professionally as a teacher. While making evening trips to GSW in the fall, winter, and spring quarters, sometimes my high school age brother, would ride with me to GSW to work in the library while I was in class. I like to think that this may have planted a seed for him to attend GSW for his undergraduate degree. I'm thankful to GSW for so many things, but 3 reasons plus 2 more here. I'm thankful for educating John, and while here, he met his wife, Barbara Jernigan, and they have 3 of the best young people I know as their children. Thank you again to GSW for hiring me as a professor, assistant professor. When I arrived at GSW, again, Dr. and Mrs. Clyett and Dr. and Mrs. Bill Kipp took me out to eat to welcome me as a colleague. My time and work with GSW and the School of Education has been my favorite years of my professional life. The people I worked with in the School of Education and across the school, across the campus from 1997 to 2013 are special to me. I always enjoyed working with so many of you. I'm afraid I will leave out someone if I start recognizing people. However, I'm blessed to call many of them and you my friends. Dean Rachel Abbott and the College of Education faculty and staff are some of the best friends one could have. I'm thankful to have known some great teacher candidates through the School of Education, one of whom we honor this evening, Ms. Heather Burgess Simpson. She and her brother Scott continue the great legacy of wonderful teachers who received their education at GSW. As a retiree, Jay and Janice Clyett and Bill and Glenda Kipp again took me out to dinner to celebrate and welcome me to the GSW Retiree Association. I remember Jay had lined up a number of community services that he wanted me to do. You know, those of you who know Dr. Clyett. Janice, his wife, took me aside and said, "You don't have to do everything Jay tells you to do." But I felt like I did. Thank you to GSW for giving me the opportunity to teach dual enrollment mathematics at Lee County High School and for a while at America's Sumter High School. A couple of years ago, I learned that Dr. Jay Clyett, when he was asked to teach off-campus mathematics classes at Lee County High School, he declined, but he recommended me for the job. I'm very grateful he did, because I'm so happy to teach amazing high school students. When I came as a full-time faculty member to GSW, the GSW mission began with these words: Georgia Southwestern State University is a caring community of learning. I truly believe this as an alumni and faculty. Thank you again for this honor.
Letty is a very distinguished Dean Emeritus, and but she won't tell you that she's probably the only dean and only faculty member and student that's ever driven down Hello Walk. And she can tell you that story another time. but the signage wasn't real clear back in the 1980s. She said she realized when she saw stairs going down into the Carter Library that she was not on a road anymore. But has anybody else ever done that? I won't be as brief as Letty. I will be much briefer. The family legacy means so much to us all because it's about family. And Letty and I, and in turn Mark, and of course I met Barbara here at Georgia Southwestern, we would not have enjoyed the success, those in my family, if it were not for my mother and my dad. And we do not realize the sacrifices that our family makes and our families make whenever we go off to college. And I know all of you can relate to that. When I was a freshman here at Georgia Southwestern, didn't have cell phones and you didn't have email, and the way they communicated with you was by the mailbox. There were mailboxes over there next to the bookstore, and you checked your mail every day because you might have some correspondence you needed to take care of. And I got a note in the mailbox that said, Miss Rebecca McNeal wants to see you in the financial aid office. And scared me to death. And so I went up there and she sat me down and she said, your daddy's been to see me. And I didn't know Daddy. I don't know if he came out here when I was whatever. I mean, I didn't get in any trouble or anything, but he had made a visit. And she said, he told me that he only had enough money to send you here for 1.5 years. And he said that you could not continue your education if we didn't find you some help. And so she offered me 2 scholarships, and then she impressed upon me the value of keeping those scholarships depended on my studying and keeping the GPA at a certain level. And it's instances like that where you realize not just what you see your parents do, but the things that they do that's unseen. All the times that my mom washed my clothes when I came home on the weekend instead of me washing them like I should have while I was in the dorm, or sent back all the groceries coming back to campus so I'd have something to eat, because at that time I don't think Aramark was running the cafeteria, so it wasn't quite that good. We used to say they had the only cake that tasted like water. But in relation to the, but not anymore. They do a great job. We love Aramark. There's great meals there. This was a great dinner tonight too. But seriously, when Dad was honest, Dad was an honest man, and by him going to Miss McNeal's office and her finding those scholarships, it takes caring people outside of your family as well. And all the caring faculty and people who made a difference in all of our lives is what makes Georgia Southwestern. It's not the buildings, it's not the grounds, it's the people, and it's the caring. I don't say this to boast. I say this to boast of my family and of people like Ms. McNeal. They said 7 degrees between the 4 of us here, but between the 4 of us, 7 degrees at Georgia Southwestern, but we have 14 degrees between the 4 of us from other colleges and universities, and Mark's working on the 15th at Florida State. That's a lot. I wish y'all had a frequent flyer program where you got my card stamped every time I cross the graduation and I get the 4th one free. That might be something to think about. But it matters. It matters what people do. The extra effort that each person takes at this college, at this university, to change a student's lives makes a difference. And it not only makes a difference in that student's life, as you can see, it makes a difference in a legacy of ongoing positivity in the future. So thank you very much for honoring our family this way.
Well, my story is not as nice as theirs. I came from a family, and I was a first-generation college student. So I remember in high school, I had not even thought about going to college. And I remember that my high school counselor said, you know, Barbara, have you ever thought about going to college? And I said, me? No, nobody had ever talked about college. She said, well, I think there's a college just north of Albany that you should go see. And it was Georgia Southwestern State. Well, it was Georgia Southwestern back then. And so I came up here. I remember my mama and I came up here. She was a factory worker from Coates and Clark, and that's about all she knew, and had a 10th grade education. But she came up here with me, and she said, I don't know how we're going to pay for this, because that's all she had. And we had the GI Bill. I was the last person to get the GI Bill. My father was retired military, and so I was able to go all 4 years, and my master's paid for by the GI Bill. So I was very, very fortunate for doing that. But we had a wonderful experience because it was more like my mama and I went to college. She had the best time coming up here, helping me get my dorm room set up and everything. It was fun. And my friends, John and I were both so involved in Baptist Student Union, and that's where we met. I remember when the first time I met him when we were having an open house. I'm a year older. I know I don't look it, but thank you. But I remember when he and his family came to BSU, and you know, out of all the people you meet, you wonder, why do I remember that? But now I know. It took us about 3 or 4 years till we kind of hooked up, I guess, and been together almost 34 years. So it's a great place to meet people, too. Great place to meet people. But it was an exciting thing. I had great professors, Dr. June Ewing, Dr. Barbara Carter back then. Had a master's in reading, and Dr. Ewing took me as her graduate assistant in my master's. Just a wonderful group of people who helped me grow. I didn't know anything about going to college, didn't really know anything about professionalism, but they taught me. And I think I turned out pretty well after 30 years and going through, but it's all because of where I started here at Georgia Southwestern. It would not have happened without this wonderful place and these wonderful people. And as Letty had said before, her professor had invited them out to eat to their house. Dr. Ewing did the same thing to her students. And it's just that type of family relationship that you build and you continue to have with your professors and the people that you meet here. And it helps you also to realize that you have to give back to the community. And that's what we do as I continue to do that. And I'm blessed to be able to do that here at Georgia Southwestern by teaching future teachers and being able to give back and encourage and maybe make that difference in another teacher's life that might kind of spark that thing to kind of go to that next step. And so I just want to say thank you for honoring us, as we feel like we have been very honored by being a part of Georgia Southwestern. So thank you so much.
I know it seems almost natural that the child should go to the same school as the parents and the aunt, but it really was not in my mind that I should do that just because it was in the family. My first memory of GSW, I think, was going to Morgan Hall, and my aunt was teaching one of the classes, and I was one of her guinea pigs. She had taught me algebra at a young age. I think I was probably in 2nd grade, and I was supposed to be the student doing algebra at 2nd grade for her children, or for her students in college. And so I don't know if that made an impression on me, but it did make an impression that education was important. And if it wasn't that GSW was important, it was that GSW just seemed to be the right thing to do at the time. I decided to go to GSW probably in the summer after I graduated. I was still debating on which college to go to, and I talked to Dr. Meganson, and she finally invited me to come over and talk to her about what I wanted to do. And my thoughts were that I wanted to double major in music and mathematics, and she said, well, actually, they're in 2 different schools, the School of Arts and Sciences, School of Mathematics and Computing. So nobody's ever done that before, but you can do that. And so I was really inspired by that. Just like Dr. Ewing, Dr. Clyett, Dr. Meganson, and Dr. Laughlin really inspired me and made me feel at home here. Dr. Weaver asked me where I'd learned to play so well or perform. He said, is it in the family? And you can see up there that there are no other music degrees, but I did learn mathematics from them, and I learned the enthusiasm of mathematics and the enthusiasm of music from them. But I honed my skill at GSW, and that was really where I learned to enjoy it and play. And I thank you very much for honoring us tonight. Just a little correction, I'm not getting a doctorate in music. I'm getting it in mathematics education. So I'm still continuing that legacy of mathematics education in the family. But thank you so much for the honor tonight.
Dr. John Watford, you know that that story about Hello Walk, that's the only, a little brother's the only person that can tell a story like that. So, next on our program is the Visionary Award, which goes to Rob Martin Sr., who is a class of 1990 and 1991, and his family is there at his table with him. We have Rob Jr., we have Rose and Rebecca, and I've been told that their initials are all the same. So. Someone said that makes monogramming really easy in their family, so that's good. From an early age, Rob put the entrepreneurial spirit in action. At 11, he established his own neighborhood lawn cutting service, and he worked his way through college by owning and operating an automotive detailing company. That inclination to see new business thrive was further developed in college while interning for the Department of Economic Development and the Chamber of Commerce, where his project was to help develop a marketing plan for the City of Americus. As a GSW student, Rob served as president of the Advertising Club. He served as the editor of the Southwestern, and he was twice recognized as the outstanding marketing student. Rob went on to work for Motion Industries for 13 years, where he successfully launched and operated branches in North Carolina, Georgia, and Alabama, before transitioning to outside sales, growing his territory by 240%. From there, he moved back to Southwest Georgia as the director of hospitality at Sherwood Baptist Church in Albany for over a decade, revitalizing the church bookstore, creating an online store, a new coffee shop, and helping coordinate a team of 300 plus volunteers on a weekly basis. Today, Rob puts his experience in customer service, management, human resources, and marketing to work as the area director of the University of Georgia's Small Business Development Center in Albany. He consults, trains, and educates small businesses in 27 Southwest Georgia counties. And after 5+ years in the role, Rob has helped inspire more than 350 small businesses in the region. Please help me recognize Rob Martin as the 2020 GSW Alumni Visionary Award recipient.
There's a story behind that comment. Growing up, my kids always had to put up with me whenever we went to a sports event or anything that they did. Spelling bee, mathematics, you name it. They'd go across the stage and I'd always yell, "That's my boy, that's my girl." So thank you, Junior, for that recognition. Well, Angela said we'd like for you to say a few words, and what she didn't know is there's just enough preacher in me that we could be here for a while, but I was encouraged not to do that, so I won't. I'll let y'all do church tomorrow. But what I would like to do is to thank both the committee and the university for this award and this recognition. But more specifically, I'd like to thank my wife, Rose, who for going on 25 years now has been my constant support, encourager, and love. Also my two kids, Rob Jr. and Rebecca. And then also here tonight is my mom and my sister and my brother-in-law. So thank you all for being here tonight as well. Those life experiences played a huge role in molding me and making me the person that I am today. But additionally, I'd also like to thank the many professors and mentors that have poured into my experience as a student, both in school and in life. Specifically, Dr. John W. Bates, who I tried to bring down from North Carolina tonight, but I see that he didn't make it, so. But he's the professor that most poured into me when I was here. I served as an undergraduate assistant in the Center for Business Studies here at Georgia Southwestern. And then when I graduated and went out into the real world trying to find that job, I went to apply for a job at Sumter EMC. Was on my 4th interview, and they told me that things went well. We think you're the man for the job. We'll let you know by this afternoon. What we didn't know is that while I was in my 4th interview with them, someone that had been in the very position they were hiring for 14 years in North Carolina was trying to come to Americus, Georgia. He had handwritten his resume out on a sheet of paper, ripped it out of a spiral-bound notebook, and faxed it over. Beat me out of a job. But that's okay, because Dr. Bates already had a plan. When I came back defeated and told him that it didn't look like I was going to get the job, that someone else had come in and gotten the job, he said, well, what are you going to do now? And I said, well, it's interesting because they told me that if I'd had a master's degree, there wouldn't have been a 4th interview. It would have been my job before that guy had a chance to apply. So he slid a drawer open and threw across the desk an envelope with my name on it. I said, what's that? So he said, well, open it and see. And it was the Roy Lee Smith Students in Free Enterprise Scholarship. It was a $5,000 scholarship that was enough to pay for me to get my master's degree. So he poured into me in a special way. But in addition to that, he was also the first person to volunteer me to go and speak at the Rotary on Students in Free Enterprise. Little did I know 30 years later I'd still be speaking at Rotary on a regular basis, but that's okay. He's the one that helped me transition from just a student to a community engaged and involved member of not only my school campus, but also the Americas community. And for that, I greatly appreciate it. When I think about what it means to receive this recognition as someone who has demonstrated a commitment to turn a vision into reality, the courage to assume risk, and the ability to make changes to take advantage of new opportunities, I can't help but picture in my mind how that's the exact image that I have of the small business owners that I work with and serve today. Today's small business owner faces daily new challenges, struggles, and a need to be able to navigate the ever-changing waters of the business environment and technology. As an alumnus of GSW, I proudly waved the GSW flag during my career. My hurricane pride is one that has always stood. Today, I have the opportunity to share the knowledge from my education here at GSW, as well as my experience from a career working with Fortune 500 companies, to mom and pops, to having my own small business and navigating those waters personally. As an area director for the University of Georgia Small Business Development Center, I share my vision, my knowledge, and best practices with small business on a daily basis. I have the pleasure to work in the community where I grew up. We serve 27 counties in Southwest Georgia. It's a large landmass, but I'm proud to do it and consider it an honor to invest in the communities that invested in me. So I promised you I wouldn't go long. So again, I'd just like to thank Georgia Southwestern University, its professors and the staff for investing in me and my education, setting the example and the expectation during my time here to work hard, invest in my community, and be the change that we want to see in the world. So I was very excited to hear Dr. Weaver say how that's still very important, to be engaged in your community and be an influence on tomorrow. So with that, I say go Canes, and God bless.
Thank you, Rob. I do want you to know that we don't pull cash out of drawers anymore and give it to students. That's frowned upon. Our next award recognizes a young alumna. You can see how young she looks in that picture right there. Heather Burgess Simpson, who was the college roommate of my baby sister, who's at this table with her. So she will forever have the title of young with me because she's younger than I am. So, a 2007 early childhood education graduate, Heather went on to complete a master's degree and specialist degree from the University of Alabama, and she has been a kindergarten teacher at Hueytown Elementary School in Hueytown, Alabama since 2008, which is a suburb of Birmingham, right? Yes. Before that, though, she taught kindergarten at Sumter County Primary School in Americus. She met her husband, Micah, also a GSW grad, two degrees, while enrolled. They now have 2 sons, Daniel and Nathan. If you've ever met Heather, you know she is bubbling with positivity, energy, and kindness, characteristics that can certainly be attributed to her sweet mother, Denise, and father, the late Ricky Burgess, who was the legendary voice of the Hurricanes. If you know Heather, you know that she is smart, diligent, neat, and very good at her job. She was GSW's Outstanding Scholar in 2008, the school's top academic award. And professionally, she has earned 3 Teacher of the Year awards, the most recent being the Presidential Award for Excellence in Math and Science Teaching. That is President of the United States, presidential. In fact, you've probably seen her on the cover of the Aeolian. With that, there's not much else to say that needs to be said. Please welcome Heather Simpson, GSW Young Alumni Award winner.
Hello. What an incredible privilege I have to accept this award from an alma mater that has helped shape my life from well before I was a college student. If I seem nervous, it's because I am. So my typical audience still has all of their baby teeth. So you guys don't fit that bill. So before I stepped on campus as a student in 2004, I was raised as a Hurricane. There are definitely perks to having the voice of the Canes as your dad. I have great memories of watching basketball games in the broadcast booth in the old gym and serving as the ball girl for the ladies volleyball team. My favorite GSW memory was around age 4 or 5. Mom and Scott and I would listen to the radio and stay up on GSW away games and wait for Dad to tell us goodnight over the airwaves. GSW was woven into the fabric of our family from the beginning. And its influence has continued as I lost count tabulating the degrees earned by my husband, aunt, brother, sister-in-law, cousins, and other family members. While a student, GSW gifted me so many opportunities with both academics and leadership. The honors program and orientation team were places to stretch myself beyond what I thought I was capable of accomplishing. The School of Education, under the phenomenal Dr. Letty Watford, held the goal of not simply teaching us ed majors how to teach, but to develop in us the dispositions of a truly effective educator. The Baptist Student Union, now BCM, helped me to own my faith and gave me friends and mentors who I treasure today. Georgia Southwestern gifted me a college roommate turned best friend, hey Remy, as well as an amazing husband who proposed to me at the Georgia Southwestern Clock Tower. What an incredible privilege I have. Oh, I've already read that one. I told y'all I was nervous, didn't I? Oh my goodness. Mom, do you still have a card in your pocket? But I appreciate this award so much. I can't say enough about how Georgia Southwestern has continued to be a blessing to our family. And I appreciate this award very much. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Mike Leeder. I'm the Director of Athletics here at Georgia Southwestern, and it's interesting how sometimes these awards kind of intertwine. And prior to my appointment as the Director of Athletics, I was the men's basketball coach here as we transitioned from the NAI to NCAA Division II. And part of my appointment as the men's basketball coach was I also taught classes in the School of Education under Dr. Watford, who was the Dean of Education back then. And as coaches, we know when it doesn't go well, you hear it from the fans. Sometimes they get very frustrated with your ability to coach. And I promise you, the frustration the fans felt paled in comparison to the frustration I'm for sure Dr. Watford felt having me as one of her instructors. And it does my heart good. I thought Mark would mention the fact that taking my lifetime fitness class years ago propelled you to want to go get your doctorate at Florida State, but I guess that wasn't it. So I appreciate you never telling your aunt when we let class out early or we didn't have class at all. So but it's just interesting how they all kind of intertwine. But tonight, I'm here to honor our newest member of our Hurricane Athletics Hall of Fame. As I mentioned, we transitioned from the NAI to NCAA Division II back in the year 2006. And since that time, we've inducted a lot of former great student athletes, males and females across all different sports, from Division II to NAI to contributors. We mentioned Ricky Burgess a little bit earlier today. And it's interesting. Usually it's honoring someone's 4-year career. They come in here, they play for 4 years, and they move on. And we look back and we honor what they did on the court and their accomplishments later on in life after they left GSW and their playing days. And it's interesting tonight that we nominate someone that's still here with us, and he's a contributor as well. And I think when you're running an organization, you're leading an organization, you're always looking for reliability. You're looking for professionalism. You're looking for excellence. And those are all things that tonight's inductee possesses. And if you've looked at a schedule card of a GSW athletic team, if you've seen anything on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and you've looked at those pictures, and you say, gosh, where do those come from? They look like they're really professionally done. And we're very fortunate that Chris Finn, who does an outstanding job in the physical plant, he's at every single home event. And you always see the pickup truck back up, and you know with the spring sports, the weather changes, the schedules change, and somehow Chris always finds time to make his way out there. And all those photos that the parents have enjoyed looking at on Facebook, or they're on plaques in the Hall of Fame, those are all done by one guy. And Chris does it all out of his own pocket. He does it out of his enthusiasm, for GSW. And he helps Keith Micklig, our Assistant Director of Athletics for Communications, really make an outstanding presentation for not just the parents, but for the student athletes here at GSW. And Chris will be a guy that he's been doing this since 2002, and there's no way. Al Davis, the owner of the Oakland Raiders, he once said when describing people in an organization, he said, everybody's replaceable as long as you have a replacement. And I will tell you, when Chris Finn goes, we're going to be in trouble. There is no replacement for Chris Finn. So it gives me great pleasure tonight to introduce our newest member of the GSW Athletics Hall of Fame. Please welcome Chris Finn. Chris, I think we'll get some.
Thank you, Coach. Well, that's really nice. I grew up on Elm Avenue, which is just one block over. I used to ride my bicycle around in front of the administration building. My mother was in the first graduating class here when it became a 4-year school. My sister, who's with me tonight, also graduated from here. So my roots run deep here. I actually learned how to swim in that pool in the bottom of Florida Chapel. And I can assure you that's the coldest water that there ever was in the entire world. Many people ask me why I do all this, why I take all this time to do this. And it's really, I like doing it. I enjoy photography. I always have. I studied photography. But I remember over here in a conversation when some former athletes who had returned to campus were saying that they did not have any photographs of their time playing here. And I thought that was really bad. And I knew I could do something about it, so I started doing it. and it took on a life of its own. And today, if you walk down the halls in the athletic wing, you see all these great photos on the walls, these great athletes, and they're all were champions. They were all the best. But there were so many more guys that maybe they didn't play much, but they still had their picture made. They still got a plaque when they graduated. And that's what makes me feel good about it, and the reason I continue to do it. And I really cherish this. I had never expected anything like this. I didn't want it, I didn't seek it, but I got it. And I really thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
Might not have wanted to say that this early in this talk. My name is Lynn Hicks, and past president of the Alumni Association, and it's an honor to be here tonight. I'd like to thank Dr. Weaver for all that he has done for our college, propelling it into a future that we all look forward to, and his wife for the constant mentoring that she gives him as he goes through his everyday chores at this college. I'd like to especially thank Stephen Snyder and Angela Smith for the outstanding job that they have done to bring about this event this day. Unless you have worked with those individuals, you'll never know the amount of time that they put into an organization. It's got to be more than a job, or it's got to be a passion, keeping all the plates spinning at the same time. And I do appreciate everything y'all do for this college. Kathleen Tucker, outstanding. Board, good. Fellow alumni, I appreciate y'all being here today for the honorees that we have. I'd like to thank the total Alumni Association and the board members for all that you do. It's a special task that board has for this college. It's not an easy task to try to raise money and put on events to engage not only the alumni, but also to the undergraduates, to bring them together and to make them understand that the college is more than just the time that you spend right here on this campus. And I appreciate all they do. For those alumni that are sitting in the room that are not engaged, that are here tonight, maybe for a long time being on campus, I ask that you think about what you can give back and contact either Kathleen and the board members or Angela, and you can give either your time, your talents, or anything else that you'd like to give. I'm sure they'd be welcome to have that. A special thanks to two young ladies, Chelsea Collins and Sydney Scott. Everybody in this room should be receiving an Aeolian. If you're not, you're missing the boat. Those young ladies have put out as editors the best Aeolian I have ever seen, and I look forward to every issue we get. Thank you very much. To Kathleen and Brother Jimmy Peel, I want to thank y'all both for giving me the opportunity to be a part of this program tonight. It means an awful lot to me. Thank you. The Aeolian Award, and a lot of people will breathe a little bit easier, it's not about the individual's time here on campus and what they did or didn't do. So there are several people in my age group that's going to breathe a lot easier about what's going to be talked about tonight. It's about an individual who has given back, not only in his profession, but in his career, in his community, back after he has stepped off this campus. It's based on a lifetime achievement, and that lifetime achievement kind of equates to service to humanity as the best work of life, and that's truly what we're talking about with this award. The 2020 recipient is Ronald R. Nix, aka Ronnie. He currently is living in Dalton, Georgia with his wife Helen, who is also a GSW graduate. And with him tonight are his children, his daughter Lindsay, and her husband, State Supreme Court Justice, the Honorable Charlie Bethel. They have with them tonight Joanna, who is with us, and unfortunately Henry and Jeb aren't with us tonight, but are in spirit. His son, Andrew Nix, and his wife Jennifer, with Preston and Blakely, are here with us tonight. And they have another son, Philip Nix and Laney, and they have 2 children. So there's a big family that we're talking about here that are with us tonight. The year was 1964, and Lyndon Johnson was President of the United States. The Beatles had just invaded the United States and was taking over the songs. Pretty Woman, Do Why Diddy Diddy, and Under the Boardwalk were hitting the top of the chart. The girls were wearing what we call a bob hair, and the boys had crew cuts, but their hair was getting longer every day. It was when we had lava lamps and we had bell-bottom pants. It was a good time. It was a good time. The Surgeon General announced that smoking had caused cancer, and maybe we're listening today. And then the U.S. was escalating in Vietnam, and mothers everywhere across this country were beginning to learn about something called the draft lottery. In Hayfield, Georgia, a young man by the name of Ronnie Nix, full of excitement and a future unknown, graduated on May the 18th, 1964, and began a journey that not only would change his life, but the lives of countless others. He applied to several colleges, and he was accepted to several colleges, so he had his choice. But he chose to come here to GSW. And in fall of 1964, he stepped on this campus. And like all young men in the application process, he learned about a term called selective service and his obligation to his country. While education is the basis for attending college, we all know that, or supposed to know that. The college experience is more than the classroom and books, and soon he's found his way to the baseball field and Dr. Bob Clark. And in 1965, he was on the baseball team and was co-captain in 1966. Knowing that the college can involve a lifelong relationship outside the classroom, he became one of the founders of Sigma Delta Epsilon in 1966, later becoming a charter member of the Eta Theta chapter of Sigma Chi in December of 1970. At that time, the Greek fraternities were growing on campus, and Dr. William B. King is considered to be the founder of Greeks here at Georgia Southwestern. He was very instrumental in our chapter. As a result of Ronnie's endeavors and his hard work, there have been over 900 Sigma Chi's who have graduated from this campus and gone on to be alumni. That is an achievement just in itself. The escalation of Vietnam was ramping up, and Ronnie made a choice, and he served in the U.S. Reserve from 1969 to 1975. And because of that, like a lot of young men in our country, his college education lasted just a little bit longer than 4 years. But with no parking tickets or overdue books, on June the 4th, 1972, he received his diploma. Quite an accomplishment. The next big step in his life came 1 week later, when he married Helen McDuffie, who also graduated at the same time, on June the 11th, 1972. And they began their life today and the product that you're seeing with them. He started building a resume, and immediately Helen became the CEO, the CFO, the COO, and the head of the Human Resource Department for the Nix family. I think Ronnie had the easiest of the jobs. His career got started as program manager in Macon-Bibb County in the recreational department, and he was there from 72 to 78. He later on became the director in Macon County from 78 to 79. Then he moved to director of the Statesboro Recreation Department in 79 to 86. And then he found his home. In 1986, he became the director of the Dalton Parks and Recreation. His career in recreation spans over 39 plus years, and he has certainly changed the lives of countless young people, impacting them by his vision of caring and sharing attitude. It was a job and it was a career, but it was a passion, and he certainly showed that. During his term as director, he served several state offices with the rec departments, president in 83-84, president-elect in 82-83, first first vice president in '81, and a District 6 commissioner. Because of his love and dedication to the people of Dalton, the recreation activities facilities, and his tireless effort to improve the services that the rec department provided for all ages. In 2012, the Dalton Parks and Recreation honored him by dedicating and naming their park the Ronald R. Hicks Athletic Complex Park. What an achievement. Ronnie will tell you very quickly that in his life, it's faith-based, and that all of his blessings have come from God. He is a member of the First Baptist Church of Dalton, a deacon, a Sunday school teacher, a youth volunteer, a member of the choir, and the men's ensemble group that has toured in the U.S. and abroad. And a quick side note, I heard him sing back in the '66. That's an accomplishment I never thought he would make. In fact, I visited with him one time and I mentioned that, and he said, well, I've got a CD. And he lives in Dalton. We were coming back to Americus, and I told my wife, I said, we're going to get to listen to Ronnie sing all the way back to Americus, Georgia. His civic involvement includes president and charter member of the Dalton Morning Rotary Club, and he continues to be involved with GSW through scholarship giving and supporting the Eta Theta Sigma Chi chapter here on campus. It now gives me great pride to introduce to you the GSW 2020 Aeolian Award recipient, a friend, a fellow alumni, and a brother, Ronnie Hicks.
Special award. Heather, you kind of scared me a while ago. I may be close to the oldest one here. I'm happy to have any tea. I want you to know that. I'd like to thank President Weaver and the Award Selection Committee for this special recognition. I'd also like to congratulate the other recipients. You represent family tradition, dreaming, promise, and long-term dedication, and I thank you all, and I congratulate you all. It's a special night for y'all, special night for me. When Angela Smith made contact with me a few months ago and she said, you've been selected to receive the Aeolian Award, I was shocked. I was humble and I was appreciative as well. As I reflected, well, I concluded that, you know what, Ronnie? There's a lot more people that are a lot more deserving of this award than you. So why me? Someone took the time to tell my story, to pass along information, and I am truly grateful for that fact. I've been reflecting for a couple of months now about a lot of things that went on here at Georgia Southwestern. I will share some of those with you. I can't share them all. But when I first enrolled at Georgia Southwestern, my full intention, along with a lot of other people, if they're really honest, was to make some grades and get to Athens just as quick as I could. That feeling began to change along the way. I experienced this small college atmosphere, and I really enjoyed it. It was really good. As Lenny said, I made the baseball team, so I was able to take part with a team situation, learn what it meant, further learn what it meant to be a team member, and realize that there were responsibilities and sacrifices that went along with that privilege to play. Lenny stole some of my thunder, but I'm going to highlight it again. 1966, and I want to give credit to the other fraternities as well. Sigma Nu Alpha was a local fraternity. It started in 1966. It would later be chartered into Kappa Sigma. Well, a group of guys, including myself, said, why not us? So, a group of guys with different temperaments and talents got together in October 1966. Sigma Delta Epsilon was started and would be chartered by Sigma Chi on December 19th, 1970. I acquired lifetime brothers and friends, and I'm proud to be a Sigma Chi. During this same time, there was another local fraternity. Phi Delta would later become a chapter of Pi Kappa Phi. For most of us then, suitcase college was a term that we wouldn't be using anymore. And Southwestern had become home to me. And I'll also say that over the years, all the rivalries that I felt have diminished a great deal, because I realized that the Greek system, if you will, is only as strong as its weakest link. So we need a good, healthy system. The development of a recreation major would provide me a springboard into my career. And I think that I was the first recreation graduate from Southwestern. As I gathered information for the thing tonight, I asked my wife, I said, because she's a Georgia Southwestern alumni too, I said, you think I ought to send some information on you along to Lynn? She said, no, this is your night and not mine. This is the farthest thing from the truth as can be. The fact is only the support and encouragement of others along the way that made any success that I've achieved possible. I'm going to do this quickly, but I would like to give you a capsule of some of the people the Lord has put in my path. We've already mentioned Dr. William King. He was a special guy. He made everybody feel important. He had a way of looking at you like, I really know who you are, and you're important to me. And that's a real talent that he had. And he loved the students, and he wanted the best for our school. Dr. James Russell was our fraternity faculty advisor for many years, and he spent many hours keeping us grounded as we made our path to a national charter. Dr. Bob Clark was my main recreation professor. He made sure that I had a place to intern. He took me to the state conference. He and I went together to Macon to the state conference. He wanted me to be exposed to the educational opportunities there and exposed to the various communities located throughout Georgia that had service, leisure service organizations. And he also wanted to try to help me find a job, which was very important to me. I'd like to recognize a lot of these names you're not going to recognize, but I do. Grady McCallman was a mentor to me during my childhood. He was the recreation director in Haple, Georgia, where I was raised. He gave me my first job in Macon, the place that I interned, and we lived in Macon from 1972 to 78. In 78 and 79, I went to Macon County, and I had the privilege and the responsibility to pioneer a brand new countywide program. And that was quite a learning experience. It was me and the lawnmower. And we had a good time. After 1 year, Dr. Doug Levitt, Bill Hatcher, Honey Bowen, that's a neat name, isn't it? Honey Bowen, and Dr. Harry Carter, all members of the Statesboro Recreation Commission, went outside the Georgia Southern box, if you will, and gave me the opportunity to lead one of the most respected recreation departments in Georgia from 1979, 1986. I can't leave Statesboro without mentioning our maintenance foreman. His name was Emmett Scott. He was the hardest working man I've ever been around, and he sought perfection. And he was a mentor to me, our maintenance man. We worked together. While I was there, I came across some guys named Rick Gailey and Barry Baker. if you will, they kind of were plucked off my coaching tree and went on to other communities and became recreation directors. So that is a real accomplishment. And a GSC, a Georgia Southwestern graduate, Ed Nelson, was on our staff. In 1986, I was named the director of the Dalton Parks and Recreation Department, also a highly regarded department in our state. I served the citizens in Dalton and Whitfield County until my retirement in 2011. 2 more people were plucked off my tree. Steve Roberts, Jason Shattuck are now recreation directors in their respective communities. I'm really proud of them and the others as well. At every stop, I was blessed with staff who shared a common goal. How can we best serve? My greatest support system, though, has to be my family. My wife, Helen, has been my greatest advisor, critic. You said encourager back there, but I said critic, and cheerleader in everything I try to do. Now, this is the place that I was supposed to say, and if you mess with my husband, I'll kick you with my majorette boots. But I'm not going to say that. While I was out resume building, that's a family joke, but she really did kick some guy in grammar school with a majorette boot. While I was out resume building, we made the decision that Helen would suspend her career and do the heavy lifting of nurturing 3 children. Now, that was our choice. I want to be politically correct with everything, so that happened to be our choice. Different people do it different ways, and we obviously respect all those. That was the way we decided to do it. All 3 of our children are graduates of the University of Georgia, have wonderful spouses, and are active in the workplace, community, and church. They have blessed us with 7 super grandchildren. 3 are here tonight. I want you to know, and our 2 grandsons were no competition for the Dalton High School Sweetheart Dance. That's where they are. So, but I did want to recognize them. They've been a great support system for me. I'm almost through. As I accept this prestigious award tonight, I'm reminded of another meaningful recognition that I received many years ago. I'd been in Statesboro for less than a year. Macon County, one of my stops, had brought a team to a youth basketball tournament in Claxton. I watched the game, and after the game, one of the players approached me and said, "Mr. Nix, when are you coming back?" Wow. He was unaware that he gave me one of the biggest compliments I've ever received, and also one of my greatest career challenges. So I pass those challenges on to us all tonight. Work hard so you'll always be welcome back. And look for those stories to tell and let them be heard. Thank you again for this honor, and go Canes. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you all for being here for this very special evening. I found all of these stories very inspiring. Everybody has a different story, but I think that there is a common thread through each of them, and that is Georgia Southwestern and how special it is to the growth and development of students that we serve here. It is truly my privilege and honor to serve you all, to serve the alumni, and also this great university. I want to thank Dr. Weaver and Christy for all of their support and leadership. I know we've got a huge, we've got a lot to do, but we also have a lot going on, and it's so encouraging to see the growth and see the excitement that seems to be permeating through this university, and I hope you all feel that as well. I would be remiss if I did not thank a couple people. I'm going to make it really brief because I know that y'all are tired of sitting, and I'm not near as interesting as some of our award winners. But I do want to thank my board of directors, those that are here today. They are a committed bunch, and they do a lot of work and a lot of heavy lifting. The one who does the most heavy lifting, though, in my life is my husband, Renee, and I want to honor him tonight by thanking him for everything that he does for me. He truly is my better half. I also want to thank Jenny Lee Johnson and the Aramark crew for all that they do for this university. A lot of times they're the unsung heroes, but they are everywhere that we are. They do caterings, and they are a phone call away, and they make it very, very easy to work with and to make evenings like this possible and special for everyone. So I want to thank Bob Slinker for being here and videotaping this so that we have this as a memory not only for this university, but for everybody that was honored here tonight. I know we have some family members that couldn't be here, and I know that they're going to want to see this program. So, and I don't blame those boys for being at that sweetheart dance. I had teenagers, I understand. But I do want to say that one of the brightest things one of the best things that I get to do as being in the alumni office is to finally, at homecoming and lots of times during the year, be able to put names with faces. I talk to people on the phone every day, and it's so much fun to finally put names and faces together and to start building those relationships, and it truly is one of the most wonderful things that I find, so that my job, that I get to do with my job, and I love it, and it is a privilege to serve. And I appreciate all the accolades, but truly is my passion, and I really, really love doing what I do. So thank you all for being here tonight. Those that came from long distances, thank you for making the trip. Please travel safely home, and thank God we had sunshine today. I hope you all had so much fun, and we would love to take a couple of pictures with all of the award winners afterwards. So if you don't mind staying a few minutes longer and letting us get a couple of pictures, we sure would appreciate it. Feel free to stay around. Visit with friends and family. You're always welcome here. Come back anytime you want. We love having you here. And good evening.